The house. This story didn't happen to me. It happened to my dance teacher. One night during class, she told it to me and the other girls, and I've never forgotten it. For the sake of the story, I'll call her Jenna, her husband Matt, and Matt's younger sister Margaret. Every one of them experienced what happened in this house. Jenna was a deeply religious, God-fearing Christian. Before this happened, she didn't believe in ghosts, spirits, or anything paranormal at all. She also wasn't the type of person who would make something like this up just to scare a room full of high school girls during a class we were paying for. When she told us this story, she was visibly shaken, even years later. And she said everything you're about to hear really happened. Jenna and Matt had just gotten married. They were both in their early 20s and had recently signed a year-long lease on a small, old white house just minutes from Matt's parents' home. From the outside, the house looked harmless, cute, the kind of place newlyweds would be excited about. They had only been living there a short time, and like most newly married couples, they still had moving boxes stacked everywhere in their bedroom. The house was a little messy, but Jenna wasn't the type of person who tolerated mess. She was a complete clean freak. So when strange things started happening, she noticed immediately. At first, the disturbances were small. Her makeup would be scattered across the bathroom counter, even though she remembered putting everything away neatly. The toothpaste would disappear, and later show up in strange places. Once under their bed, another time across the room on a dresser. Clothes would be pulled out of drawers. Boxes would be opened and moved around. None of it made sense, but Jenna had an explanation. She blamed Matt. Every time something strange happened, she confronted him. "Matt, why have you been doing this?" And Matt would respond, completely confused. I didn't touch anything, Jenna. Calm down." But Jenna didn't believe him. She accused him over 20 different times of messing with her things. At one point, she even joked that she was starting to question her marriage. But eventually something happened that Matt could not possibly have done. And that's when the situation started to feel wrong. Jenna and Matt both worked regular 9-to-5 jobs. Most evenings followed the same routine. They would come home from work, eat dinner together, and settle in for a quiet night. After dinner, Matt would sit in the living room watching TV in his recliner, while Jenna cleaned the kitchen and washed dishes. One night during this routine, Jenna called out from the kitchen, "Matt, do you have any dishes in there that need to be cleaned? I want to get everything done." From the living room, he answered, "Nope." So Jenna finished washing the dishes and placed the clean ones across the counter to dry. She cleaned the sink completely and left it empty for the night. Then she walked into the bedroom for just a moment to check on their 2 small dogs who were sleeping on the floor. A minute later, she came back into the kitchen and instantly became furious. There was a single glass sitting in the sink. She stormed into the living room. "Matt, I told you if you had any more glasses to give them to me." Matt looked at her from the recliner. "Jenna, you saw me. I haven't left this chair." And he was right. The living room opened directly into the kitchen. There was no way he could have gotten up, walked into the kitchen, put a glass in the sink, and returned to the recliner without her seeing him. Jenna said quietly, "Well, there's a glass in the sink, and I didn't put it there." Matt laughed nervously and said, "Well, maybe we have a ghost." Jenna wasn't afraid of ghosts, but something else crossed her mind. Something far more realistic. What if someone was living under their house? The next morning, she called the sheriff and asked them to check the crawl space under the house. They searched the entire area. No one was there. And according to them, no one had ever been there. About 2 months after Jenna and Matt moved in, Matt's 17-year-old sister Margaret came to stay the night. Their parents were out of town on an anniversary trip, so she decided to sleep on Jenna and Matt's couch. By this point, Jenna and Matt already suspected something wasn't right in the house, but they hadn't told anyone. They were afraid they would sound crazy. Margaret had no idea anything strange had been happening. The next morning, Jenna woke up around 5 a.m. When she walked into the living room, the couch was empty. Margaret was gone. Panicking, she woke Matt up. They searched the house but couldn't find her anywhere. Then they noticed something else. Margaret's car was missing from the driveway. They immediately drove a few minutes down the road to Matt's parents' house, and there they found her. Margaret was asleep in her car. When they woke her up, the first thing she said was, "I am never staying at your house again." She told them what happened that night. She woke up suddenly because she smelled smoke inside the house, but she couldn't see any smoke. And strangely, the smell only seemed to exist around the couch where she was lying. The rest of the house seemed normal. Trying to ignore it, she laid her head back down on the pillow. And that's when she heard it. Knocking. Heavy knocking. Coming from under the couch. But something about it was strange. It only happened when her head touched the pillow. When she lifted her head up, the knocking stopped. She tried again. Head down. Knocking. Head up. Silence. This alone terrified her. But then she noticed something else. Jenna's 2 small dogs were sitting across the living room, facing her, completely silent. No barking, no movement, just staring. Margaret tried calling them. They didn't move. They didn't react. They simply continued staring. That's when Margaret ran. She ran outside, got into her car, and drove straight to her parents' house. She was too scared to go inside their house, so she slept in the car. After hearing Margaret's story, Jenna and Matt knew something was seriously wrong. They needed to leave before things got worse. And then something happened that made the decision for them. One afternoon, Jenna was still at work, but Matt came home early. At first, everything seemed normal, just another quiet afternoon. He went into the bedroom to use the bathroom and check on the dogs. Then suddenly, he heard a violent crash from the kitchen. Matt ran down the hallway. When he reached the kitchen, he froze. Every drawer had been flung open. Everything inside them was scattered across the floor. Pots, utensils, bowls, plates, everything. It looked like someone had taken the entire kitchen and thrown it across the room. But Matt was the only one in the house. He immediately called Jenna, and the words he said to her were simple. "Do not come home. I have the dogs. We are not coming back to this place. go to my parents' house. There was just one problem. They had signed a year-long lease. They weren't supposed to be able to leave early. But Jenna also knew there was absolutely no way they were ever going back into that house. So she called the landlady. "Is there any way we can get out of this lease?" To Jenna's surprise, the landlady calmly said, "Yes, that won't be a problem. May I ask why?" Jenna hesitated. Then she asked her own question. "Has anyone ever told you this house is haunted?" There was a long pause. Then the landlady, "Yes, almost all of the previous renters complain about things like that. You're not the first people to leave early." Jenna was furious. "Don't you have to disclose something like that when renting a house?" The landlady answered calmly, "We only have to disclose if someone was killed in the house. To our knowledge, nothing like that has ever happened there." To this day, Jenna tries to avoid driving past that small white house, but sometimes she does. And she says there's one thing she always notices. She never sees the same cars parked there twice. When Jenna moved into her next house, she brought holy water with her. She sprinkled it in every room, every hallway, every doorway. And according to her, it's been working perfectly. But somewhere out there, that little white house is still standing. And whoever moves in next usually doesn't stay very long.